All right, let me show you what we got going on. If you remember what we did last time, we went into our Section 8 agent that is responsible for going out to forums and finding any questions about Section 8, affordable housing, etc., read their posts, and then update it, right? So we try to keep it super helpful, but then we also had a response. So let me show you what this found. So this is a good one. So this is person posted his post on Reddit called Buying a House in Detroit. And his context was I live in Los Angeles and my buddy came with an idea. Houses in certain part of Detroit are dirt cheap. His idea is to buy and then somehow sell it or rent it to Section 8. What do people think about this? I wanted to upload pictures of houses, but also put links. So this is interesting because here's what I would have said. Let me share you with you what this says. So is this answer is probably it's probably only 50% there. And that's why I think having a human in the loop is so important because once I see this response, I would say, okay, you talk about Detroit, you should look at the best zip code to invest in Detroit. And for some reason, I also happen to have had that information. So I might see something like, hey, buying Detroit can be a smart move because the low prices, it can be profitable. It's obviously about location. Some of the some of the best zip codes to invest in Section 8 would be 48235, blah, 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 blah. And for the houses that your buddy found, you definitely want to check the neighborhood. You definitely want to do a drive-by, and you definitely want to ask someone that's knowledgeable. Now, I probably wouldn't talk to a local real estate agent. That's too generic. Sometimes people assume real estate agents know everything, but you got to find another investor. You got to find the right mentor. You got to find the right person that understands the 19 different housing authorities that the city of Detroit typically deals with, because that's the level of complexity. Because no one ever talks about that. And no one ever teaches you how do you prevent squatters from getting into your home? Because there are some professional squatters out there and they're going to get in there if you don't know how to manage the property well. Okay. You have to figure out how are you going to execute because that is the hardest part out of all of this. All right. So I like that this part it says, hey, if you want to learn more, you can actually review what is the best podcast on affordable housing investments. Boom. That's good. Good luck with your investment. Let me know you need more tips. All right, that's a little bit less pitchy, very subtle. So maybe I can say instead of let me know you need more tips, feel free to message me anytime, something like that. See, that is a bunch more subtle pitch and it will lower your chances of being self promoting, which is what a lot of Reddit threads or groups will probably ban. They typically don't allow self promotion. So they don't want people spamming links in there, right? In all of Reddit. So that would be a pretty good path, but I'm curious to see where this will work. So I'm going to go to this post and I'm going to make a post, but more importantly, I'm going to work on with my partner Brian about how to put in a human loop because now I start to understand. Okay, this is probably 50% of the way there. It needs to figure out a better tone, etc. So that's what we're getting at. All right. I hope you all have an amazing Thursday. I hope this is helpful. I love building this stuff out in public because I'm always trying to figure out how do you scale the unscalable. And sometimes learning how to go out to the world and find a question about affordable housing and come up with an answer, that takes a lot of time. That's not really scalable. So how do you do something that is unscalable? Well, maybe you have someone that helped you 50% of the way. Maybe you're there. My goal is if I can get the answer, I'm imagining it'll probably get to like 80% of the way there. But that's pretty much it. All right. So I'm gonna be working on this, and I'm even more excited now that the ChatGPT 5 just came out. I'm really curious to see what's going on here. So I hope you all have an amazing day. And honestly, let me see if GPT-5 is available right now. Oh, let's see. This is gonna be interesting. GPT-5. Boom. What is the best podcast on affordable housing investments? Boom. What podcast is this one? What works in affordable housing investments? The return property investment podcast. So I like this because my podcast is still coming out as number one. Boom. So maybe it's a podcast show. Or affordable housing investments and why. Boom. Let's see if this works. Boom. All right. I'm still number one, even when we went to ChatGPT 5. So things are looking good, everybody. All right. I'll see you all tomorrow for day 680. Have a good one, everybody.